Okay, super. Yeah, so hello everyone. Yeah, I think we'll get going. My name is Rebecca. I'm the Senior Project Officer for the Career Network Work Package for EU-CONEXUS. You're all very welcome to our Lunch and Learn series, which is part of the Career Network in EU-CONEXUS. It's a little early for lunch here in Ireland, so my colleague Siobhan suggested that maybe we could call it Brunch and Learn. So, maybe we'll change the name, we'll see. Before I hand over to our wonderful speaker, I wanted to provide just some context about the series and the Career Network. So our Lunch and Learn series is held by members of the Career Network or Work Package 13. And we do this to improve skills and knowledge and to exchange models of best practice between EU-CONEXUS partners to help support members in their work. So while the Lunch and Learn series is targeted towards careers advisors and support staff, broader topics like our topic today will be open to the wider EU-CONEXUS community. Some of you may not be familiar with EU-CONEXUS or the Career Network. So EU-CONEXUS is an alliance of 9 universities across Europe. And the idea is to promote European values and a European identity by bringing together a new generation of European citizens, as well as building the university of the future to support European coastal communities. So as part of EU-CONEXUS, the Career Network is concerned with the development of job and internship career services for the EU-CONEXUS community. We also provide job readiness training for students, and we do this through our online careers platform known as Job Teaser. We also aim to develop a professional learning community and communities of practice, hence the reason for today's event. And finally, the Career Network is also going to take the lead on developing and integrating an EU-CONEXUS alumni network. So just to note that the session is being recorded, so please mute your microphone. You can turn your camera on if you wish, and please share any questions that you may have in the chat box. I'll keep an eye on these and we'll try and answer as many as we can. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to our presenter, Andrea Athanasiou from Frederick University, who is going to lead our discussion about fostering student engagement inside and outside of the classroom. Over to you, Andrea.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for pronouncing my last name correctly, and you were worried about it. My name is Andrea Athanasiou. I am the Director of the Studies in Student Welfare in Cyprus, Frederick University in Cyprus. I would like to welcome you to this month's Lunch and Learn series. And today we will be discussing what I think it's considered as a hot topic amongst higher institutions, education institutions globally. And that is how to achieve student engagement inside and outside the classroom. Unfortunately, I do not come here with the magic formula on how to foster and facilitate student engagement, but I hope that this presentation will open up an ongoing discussion among the EU-CONEXUS Alliance members into this subject. So with further ado, let me just start with defining what the issue or the challenge or the problem is. As we all know, student engagement is a crucial aspect of higher education. It impacts learning outcomes, persistence among students, retention rates, something that we're all really concerned about, and of course, overall student success. Student engagement, especially in extracurricular and co-curricular activities that as a director of the Student Welfare and Student Studies Service, I am mostly concerned with, apart from the academic, of course, success. It plays a significant role in facilitating employability. This is our work package 13 careers. Since we know that engaged students, they acquire transferable skills through participation in this type of activities, the leadership, communication, decision-making. We all know that this is what employers are looking for and not just academic qualifications. Students who engage in this type of outside classroom activities are also more likely to engage in networking opportunities or career fairs, on-campus interviews, job shadowing opportunities, etc. They're more likely to participate in mobility practices. They feel more comfortable traveling abroad and going outside the comfort zone. In a later statistic, we've seen that we have relatively low participation in Cyprus in mobility programs, although the specific statistic is not very representative because it was right after COVID, but we still have a 0.04 during the 21-22 academic year. And most of the students will choose to go to a more familiar country, which is Greece. So it's not for them, really challenging the boundaries and getting outside the comfort zone. More likely to participate in internships, clubs, organizations, and overall, they are viewed more favorably by employers. I know that I do when I do interviews here at Frederick. And of course, student engagement could also and is a useful medium in order to enhance the cooperation between each of our institutions with outside organizations outside the academic sphere, both locally and internationally. So what are the challenges faced by the higher education institutions in terms of student engagement? What I find to be the challenge of our institution of Frederick University is how to define and measure student engagement, and then how to find the suitable means to reach out to students and to engage them in the classroom and non-classroom activities. I don't want to dwell and spend a lot of time because I know you're going to have this presentation available to you. So I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about definitions, but I do think that it's important to actually dwell into research and see literature review around the issue of student engagement. And let's just say that in Europe, while it's a big concern in research, it's relatively new. Of course, the United States and Australia were kind of the pioneers into looking in student engagement in the higher education. So I just wanted to show how the different definitions evolve over time. So I have an earlier work of Alexander Austin, who is considered to be a pioneer and a leading figure in this field. So as you see, it was called student involvement. It highlights the quantity and quality of the physical and psychological energy that students invest in the college experience, and not only in the classroom, but also in extracurricular activities. So it was spot on, but if you see in the next two definitions, they throw in the role of the institution, the reciprocal role of the institution and the students in achieving student engagement. So going into what I like Crowler's 2010 definition, so I'll just read this one. Student engagement is concerned with the interaction between the time, effort, and other relevant resources invested by both students and their institutions, intended to optimize the student experience and enhance the learning outcomes and development of students and the performance and reputation of the institution. Because we are all concerned, of course, on the one hand, helping our students achieve the maximum of their capacities, but also we want to be able, we operate in competitive markets. So we do want to have good retention rates. We don't want to have big dropout rates, and we want to have a good reputation in terms of being able to keep our students engaged and make the best of their time at the university. So while we just talked a bit about the definitions, we are also concerned about how to measure student engagement. I'm sure that we've all discussed and we all tried different surveys and different qualitative measures on how to figure out what our students want. Sometimes successful, sometimes did not reach as much as we wanted the students. But there are tools out there that can help us understand and figure out how to measure student engagement in our institutions. So again, you do have the information here. Let me just say that the most popular, widely used is, of course, in the US, the National Survey of Student Engagement and the Beginning College Survey of Student. This is also important because the Beginning College Survey of Student Engagement focuses mostly on the first year experience of students. Building on the USA survey, we've seen that in the UK, they have developed the UCAS, the UK Engagement Survey, in collaboration with the Advanced Higher Education. I'm going to refer to it a bit later. What I like in this measurement, in this survey, is that they tackle three wider themes, which is, if you can see here, engagement. So they have questions in the area of critical thinking, learning with others, interacting with staff, which is very important, reflecting and connecting, course challenge dependent learning, research and inquiry, and staff-student partnerships. They have also the theme of skill development, especially soft skill development, and then time spent as a student in the university. So it takes into account both academic work and extra and co-curricular activities. And most recently, there was an effort to develop a European-specific measurements from Morocco and all. You see the citation below. This was actually, it was used and it built on the UK engagement survey, but also in relation to studying to previous surveys that were developed in order to measure the engagement in business organizations, so occupational engagement, how engaged workers, employees are in their organization. So using these two surveys and surveys that were predominantly used in secondary education, they came up with the university student engagement inventory. It was initially used in Portugal, but it's also translated in different languages that can be helpful for you to go over. What's different in this measurement is that the engagement construct has emerged and has been researched in relation to three first order factors. I know that we've had an issue with me sharing my whole screen, but I'm gonna try and show it here. So just give me 1 second. Let me figure out where I am. Okay, so yeah. So engagement under this survey, as you can see, which I think is very spot on, is considered a second order factor based and built on the 3 dimensions of behavioral engagement. So these are behaviors that we can actually measure if they come on time in class, if they attend class, if they submit their proposals, if they participate in a given activity and so forth. The emotional engagement of the student, which is what are their attitudes towards the university, and the cognitive engagement, how they would like to be challenged from their experiences at the university level. So I do invite all of you to check out these surveys if you haven't already done so, and to try and figure out what engagement means for your institution. So these are some suggestions from the National Survey of Student Engagement in the US. What definition of engagement most resonates within your institution or area? So if you're an academic or if you are an administrative staff at the career center, at the counseling center, student affairs, and so forth. Have you encountered students who appear particularly engaged? What have these students accomplished? Are there groups of students who appear more engaged than others? What does it say about how your organization supports engagement? What critiques do you have about engagement given your institution type and students? How could your institution better deploy resources and organize the curriculum and other learning opportunities to get students to participate in beneficial activities? And how does your institution consider student engagement in strategic planning, which I'm going to go over in a bit. So, let's return back to Frederick University and kind of discuss the challenges that I identify in regards to student engagement. Again, I come from an administrative position in the Studies and Student Welfare Service. Of course, I will work closely in partnership with academics and all academic bodies. I feel I do have a general idea and a good impression on what students need. We see students here regularly. It's one of our strengths that we are a smaller university and we have the opportunity to have face-to-face contact on a daily basis with students. So this is one of our strength factors. But let's go to some of the challenges. So I've broken the challenges into three factors, three categories: individual, institutional, and wider context. So let me start off with some individual student-related factors. Of course, we are seeing a shift in the student demographics from what we did 10 or 20 years ago. There is a diverse student body, and maybe we are moving away from what it was once regarded as traditional students. We see a lot of differences in the socioeconomic status. At Frederick, we have a significant amount of first-generation learners, which we know, as literature suggests, but also experience, that they come with their own challenges. We have diverse ethnic backgrounds, but we have also seen an increase in mental health, learning difficulties among our younger student populations. Then again, you always have to face different students with different personalities and skill level. So you have students that are more introverts, and they cannot, or they need more support and more push in order to become more engaged at the university. Different learning styles, different levels of motivation, some internal, some external, a combination, sometimes not enough motivation. You have all these different kind of students coming in, and you need to be able to reach all of them. What we have experienced in the last at least 5 or 6 years is that our students spend less time on campus because they have to balance responsibilities and roles that are outside their academic role, whether they're parents, they're workers, they're employees, they're athletes, student athletes. So we feel that students spend less time, and because there is these financial difficulties and challenges experienced by a lot of our students, there is a need to work and take up part-time study, which leaves them even less time to be on campus and makes our efforts to reach out to them even more challenging. And also academic preparedness and challenges in regards to the secondary to tertiary education transition. The level of academic preparedness that students have, that incoming students have, it's lower than it has been in other years, but it's also diverse among different students. So again, this is an issue we need to tackle. But again, how well do we know our target group? I feel that I need to spend even more time trying to learn about Generation Z, which is the younger generation that we have here. It's an identity shaped by the digital age, climate anxiety. We know the effects of an impact of COVID, and of course, financial uncertainty. So while we can discuss, references and see literature review on these individual kind of challenges students have, it's important for us to spend time with them and get to know how they think and what they need. Rebecca, because I'm just seeing my presentation, just feel free to interrupt me if something is not okay.
No, everything's good. Yep, super.
Great. Thank you. So moving on to some of the institutional factors related to Frederick University and challenges into building student engagement. Well, Frederick University is a private university. As a private university, it's not funded by government. It's, its funding comes from tuition fees and research. It's in a very competitive, market-driven environment. And a lot of the budget needs to be allocated also for promotional and outreach activities. Just to, I put a note for it because I keep forgetting, but currently in Cyprus, with a population of less than 1 million, we have 3 public universities and 8 private universities. So we have a lot of universities. We have a high percentage of students finishing off the army or the secondary education and going into higher education. But we also have a lot of competition. And while this is a driving force to offer quality education and quality student services, again, it influences budget decisions. So we do feel that student engagement must become a substantial matter for the institution. We do feel that we need to allocate resources and commitment in order to be able to develop strategies and intervention to increase student engagement at all levels, both in classroom and outside, but also to be able to measure the outcomes of these interventions. We often proceed to try different interventions, but we don't have the time to kind of measure systematically the effectiveness of this intervention. There is a lack of systematic data collection, and there is a need of automation. I think that we need to invest more in data solutions, data integration, data analysis, data security, of course, and data governance. While we do have a lot of data, we still need to kind of integrate this data and trying to make more informed decisions, ongoing informed decisions based on that data. So we do have some more work to be done in this area. And the second one that I think I skipped is the student and staff interactions. I don't think we all have the same level of understanding of how important our role is, both administrative staff, but also faculty members in engaging students. I know that oftentimes faculty members may feel overwhelmed from teaching, from research, from publications. But I do feel that since we have students spending less and less time on campus, the time they spend in classroom with the faculty member is critical in order to build student engagement. And that's why I think the partnership between staff is really important, faculty and administrative staff and students. And while we do not have directly corporate student engagement into strategic planning, I think that in the next strategic planning, we have identified the need to be more specific into student engagement goals and objectives. Now, in terms of the wider context, you know, there are different opinions whether the COVID impact and the aftermath of COVID can explain the lower level of student engagement. I think that COVID helped us understand the importance of student engagement as we all struggled during the lockdown to find ways to digitally engage students, and understood how students missed the engagement with the community, with the academic community. But for sure, we do see differences in the students who graduated high school during COVID and came here at the university in terms of the academic preparedness, but also how engaged students are who began during the lockdown the first year at the university. So we do see that the COVID provided us with some insight and opportunities, but also with some challenges that I think we're dealing with again today. Secondary education system in Cyprus, I think it's way behind in terms of preparing students for the tertiary education and building on developing soft skills, although now they are working on redesigning the curriculum. Higher education in Cyprus is relatively new in terms, at least, of the university. The first public university was established in 1989, took in the first undergraduate students in 1992 and postgraduates in 1993. So maybe you are wondering why I'm bringing this up when I'm talking about student engagement. I think that because of this newer kind of development of the higher education in Cyprus at the university level, not in college or lower level, I think it kind of made a more tight oversight from the Ministry of Education and Quality Assurance accreditation agencies. So this permits little flexibility in terms of curriculum design and delivery. For example, with the minors that we were discussing in the context of EU-CONEXUS, we are having a hard time trying to incorporate that in the curriculum. It needs to be over and above the university time, the program that they're studying, which is not a very big motive for students. So it's also very strict in terms of how courses are designed. There is a mandate that we have to have a final examination, and it has to be, between 40 and 50%, 40 and 60%. So all these restrictions do not really help us into being able to be more flexible and creative with the curriculum design. Not hybrid teaching is allowed for conventional programs of study. There is no validation of informal and non-formal education under which a lot of these student engagement activities could fall. So all these are kind of limiting the efforts and the design of engagement practices and activities, at least in relation to the curriculum and the academic component. However, because we have been always concerned about student engagement, and we don't really need to study research and literature to understand how important students need to be engaged. We need to, of course, study it more scientifically and more systematically, but because we have been always concerned about student engagement, I have identified some practices here at Frederick that I think have been very helpful in facilitating student engagement. However, I do think that we need to now start spending also more time to collecting data and evaluating them. I chose 3 areas. The first one is bridging the gap between secondary and tertiary education and aiding their student transition. I think that engagement efforts should start as soon as possible, even if before students begin the first month at the university. We have some very good initiatives that we have been implementing with secondary education in Cyprus. We have the Girls in STEM, trying to be able to educate and get more girls involved in the STEM programs of the university, in the School of Engineering. So we offer STEM days, camps, and scholarships in collaboration with the industry. It's a very popular scheme, and we are very happy to see that every time we open up the STEM days and camps, we get fully booked within the first 24 hours. We offer career exploration days to students in secondary education that they are in the last 2 years of high school. This is also a very popular program. I will, of course, include the links to all of these later on when you're going to have the presentation. We just concluded this year's career exploration days. We actually have workshops in different areas from faculty members, and in collaboration with the student admissions office. We also do some personality and some skill identification for students who have not really decided what they want to do yet. And I think what is great in both of the 2 programs that I just mentioned is that we offer workshops for parents as well, because we think that parents are really important into helping students engage and transition to the university. We also invite technical schools, student workshop weeks here at the university. When again students come, we develop a whole program based on their interest in collaboration with the academic departments, and they get to go on field trips, meet alumni, and engage in different laboratory work. Now, for the first year university students, as I said, we try to start the engagement efforts as soon as possible. We do offer a free career gate testing for prospective students. This is done online, and then they can have the full report and discuss it with one of our admissions officers. We have a very comprehensive 1-month induction and preparatory program that is totally free for all students, undergraduate students. It's a month before the commencement of the semester, and they have both intensive lessons and courses based on their program of study, but also skill development and extracurricular activities. And we have a very comprehensive student and parents orientation program. We have developed a course, it's called University 101, Uni 101, Introduction to University. At this point, it's provided as a free elective, but it's a course that incoming students can get during the first 2 semesters. It helps them understand how the university works, available services, but also develop some of the skills that are important for students to have, both academic and non-academic. We have been, but not consistently, and this is what I'm saying, that we need to be more consistent in our efforts, have developed and run focus groups for first-year students regarding their experience, from choosing Frederick University to completing the first semester final exam. We were trying to find ways and incentives for students to come and participate in these focus groups. We did find that some vouchers were helpful. It was a very symbolic and small amount, but we did receive some qualitative data that we actually distributed to the academic departments and the rector's office and other academic bodies. And we do have a very strong student body representation across all academic and non-academic bodies, which I think it's very important. And of course, it does help that we are a smaller size. In terms of student support and peer support, I want to highlight that from the beginning, I've been here 21 years at Frederick University working, and way before that, faculty members acted as the academic advisors, which I think is very important to enhance the student-faculty interaction. We know that at least 3 times a semester, students are going to meet with their academic advisor. And I think that is really important to bridge kind of that relationship. We've had established a counseling center. We have 2 full-time social workers in Nicosia and in Limassol campus, and we have collaborators, educational psychologists. We have a very good student attendance and performance system that is recorded in our student information system, and that we get in the student support services in order to be able to kind of intervene as soon as possible for students who we see that they're stop attending. We have specialized career, athletic, and student life services. We have the student advocate office, and what I also think is very important, we have the on-campus employment scheme. I'm just sharing a personal kind of story, but I have seen that students who were not very much engaged for whatever reason, once we have brought them in to work at the university as students, they were closer to us, they became more engaged, and they improved their academic results as well. So I'm very, I'm always in favor of bringing in students and working. At Frederick University, students who work here, they get deductions from their tuition fees. And of course, we have the peer support, which is, again, very important for student engagement. We were the first university to develop the peer tutoring center here in Cyprus since 2012. However, we started with high participation, then it's not very stable. Sometimes we have very large, we have big numbers visiting the peer tutoring center, and we're trying to navigate different ways to attract students. Again, I think that faculty members are really our allies in these efforts. Peer ambassadors, we've done a pilot kind of run this academic year, and now I think we're ready to get it off to start officially for the following academic year, 24-25. In terms of integrating student engagement in curriculum, promoting collaborative active learning, use of technologies, and getting faculty on board. As I said, they are the biggest ally. We are very proud that we have developed the Frederick University Living Lab since 2022. It's a pedagogical initiative that is based on a student-centered learning and teaching approach. It combines project-based, participatory, and experiential learning through community connections and partnerships. Full projects are also connected with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I think just in a nutshell, what to explain the initiative, we get out a call for faculty members who are willing to bring in one of their courses and use the course objectives and expected outcomes, and to deliver the course content in collaboration with an organization in the community, where students are going to undertake a real life project. And we are very, I mean, although it is very soon to make, definitely decisions on the success of this initiative, the early data that we have collected in terms of student satisfaction when they complete the satisfaction survey for each course at the end of each semester, but also attendance records, they are very promising. We have a lot of co-curricular activities that are developed in partnership with faculty members and students. Some examples include the Frederick University Racing Team. We have our own student formula, and it's an interdisciplinary approach. So we have students not only from the engineering, mechanical, and automotive departments, but also we have from the business to help them with the market plan. We have from the arts and communication with their campaign and photography and so on. We have the Forest School, Mobile Devices Lab, Robotic Academies. Again, all of these are going to be in the websites. To all of these are going to be in the presentation. I have 5 more minutes to go, and I'll open up for discussion. And Frederick Personal and Professional Development Center, it was an effort that started to develop this center for the staff training right before COVID, but then COVID hit, so it was formally established in 2021. In 2022, the board of the university developed the rule for staff training and the number of trainings the staff need to attend during an academic year. It has 6 thematic categories: the teaching, interaction with stakeholders, digital tools, research, SDGs, policies, rules, and procedures. And I think especially for the interaction with the stakeholders, we did how to communicate with students as an academic advisor, as a faculty, how to resolve disagreement with students, and of course, different academic skills and teaching and digital tools that academics can use to get students to become more engaged. Finally, on the institutional level, what I think is, as I said earlier, a strength is that since ever, there has been a very strong sense of community belonging and direction at Frederick University, a strong direction from the founder and continued by management today with a very student and person-centered approach. And we are able to do it being a smaller university, as I said earlier. Participation in university rankings during the last 3 years has been extremely helpful in being able to improve our data collection methodology, make sense of data, understand where we stand and the areas of improvement. And now, as of this year, the university management has become a member to the Advanced Higher Education in the UK, which is extremely helpful. I think it shows a lot of commitment, all of them, because it helps us have access to a wide range of resources, especially for higher education, teaching, learning, fellowship for faculty members, and service provision. And our objectives in terms of the student engagement and my service for the next 2 years, we do strive to enhance the partnership between student support staff, faculty, and students, so we can understand engagement needs and promote it inside and outside the classroom. As I said earlier, establish the Student Ambassador Program. We do want, right after graduation, to start working the little time we have with faculty members of the first year students to see how we can incorporate some activities and work together for the first semester students' courses, like job shadowing, participation in skill development workshop, volunteer. So since we cannot give full ECTS and to be recognized for these opportunities, maybe we can incorporate it in their learning objectives of the first year courses. And my lifelong kind of need is to, an idea is to develop a co-curricular transcript to be given to students as an official university document. So basically what this transcript will do is to showcase all the extra and co-curricular activities of students. It's going to be like a transcript, but it will also show what skills students develop from the participation in a specific activity. I did an example. Let me just zoom it in a bit. So for example, if a student participates in a leadership activity, student activities and union services, then it shows kind of cases what the skills developed are from the participation and the role of the student in this activity. I think that it's going to be a very useful tool both for students and employers who are now looking more for skills rather than anything else. So fingers crossed, this is going to be the year that we are going to be able to achieve it. And in conclusion, I think what is really important is to understand and develop student engagement strategies and to be among the top priorities of university leadership and invest resources capacity development in this area. Need for a collaborative approach to student engagement. All stakeholders need to be involved, management, decision makers, academic and admin staff, and students, of course. And I do feel that the EU-CONEXUS Alliance is really valuable in understanding student engagement. I am also involved in the I Am Student project, and this is one of our aims, to understand how to best reach out to students. But I do feel that we can use our resources and our collaboration in order to strengthen student engagement, study it, strengthen it through joint research and exchange of good practices. So this is my presentation for today. And yes, Rebecca, I'm handing over to you.
Yeah, super. Blown away by the just so thorough and detailed and so informative too, with some very practical examples. So I mean, thank you so much for. You can definitely see you're very passionate too about student
Yeah,
engagement, which I think is really important because it's my goodness, like I didn't realize how complicated an area it was, and what, what do you do with a complicated area? You go to the research, and you see, okay,
yeah,
what's being done, and then you kind of find, oh, okay, there's a little bit, but we still kind of have a lot more to do, really. And I think it's so
yes,
true.
yes.
It's not a one size fits all approach. I mean, clearly, and you're kind of banging your head against the table, wondering why are the students not engaging, and you're like, well, who are my students? Who am I trying to target? And you really have to think about, and it's you look at it from their perspective too, that they probably
Yeah,
have so much else going on as well. And it's different when older generations and even our generation went to college too. It's a completely different
yeah.
experience. So it's having that awareness, which I think is really important that you highlighted. And then as well, what came to my mind was what gets measured gets managed, that we kind of forget to evaluate and look back
Mhm.
as to the programs that have been done, and what worked and what didn't work,
Yeah.
and I might ask while people are maybe typing some of their questions. I just had one, like there's an awful lot of information that you gave there, which is fantastic. If someone was maybe a little bit overwhelmed and didn't know, okay, where do I get started, what kind of small steps could someone take? I mean, should they look at it from the perspective of, okay, just maybe identifying the students and speaking with them, to get a sense of what's needed? Or would you take another view of maybe taking a program that you think, you've seen has worked quite well and just saying, okay, maybe we could try this, or what do you think?
Mm. Having tried the kind of implementing programs and then see where this goes, it is useful, but I think that kind of researching in pairs with the students, as I said, finding those students who are engaged and kind of bringing them in and seeing and doing maybe a focus group with them on what worked what helped them, what were the motives and what they need. I found it very useful. Every time I want to do something like an activity and I want to engage more students, I go to them and I ask them, what would be a good motive? So they inform me better. As you said, now we have this bigger gap in generations. When I started 20 years, we were pretty much kind of closer in the mentality, but now there is a big gap. And then again, I think it's really important to have focus groups with all the stakeholder groups. We know that surveys are also can reach a bigger population, but it's hard. My goal next year is to actually ask faculty members to show the survey in class and ask students to scan the code while, dedicate 10 minutes from the classroom so we can get results. So it needs to be a coordinated effort.
And who looks at those results, Andrea? Would you get the help of, research students or PhD researchers or statisticians in your university
Yes.
to kind of help? Because it seems it would be, collecting the data is a challenge in itself, and then
Yes.
analyzing the data and making sense of it is another challenge.
Yes, we do. We actually do have statisticians, faculty members as well, but we also have administrative staff. Depending on the time, we will ask the help of both administrative and faculty members who are in that position, PhD students as well. Yes, but then again, it's kind of writing the report, sharing it to who, when is the right time to pay attention to this. You have all these things going on throughout the year, and then you reach graduation, and then it's summer, and by the time you're trying to figure out what's going on, faculty members leave, and then they come back again, and then we have another race to go into. I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's a
everybody
lot.
can
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
relate.
It's I think what I get from that is that it's kind of it's planning, but it's also that collaboration,
Yes,
between, because it's not just the career center or people. It's everyone engaged with students in different
along
ways.
that.
So it's trying to coordinate that. I might go to the chat and just maybe throw some questions at you, see what you kind of think. So
Andrea,
someone
if you
work.
wanted to stop sharing screen, it might be
Oh,
easier
I'm
for everyone
sorry.
to, yeah, no, it just might be a little, yeah,
That's a
that's
good
better,
idea.
I
Thank
think.
you. I forgot I was sharing. Yeah.
Super. So someone working in the Department of Teacher Education, and they're enthusiastic about emphasizing active learning and student-centered teaching as a key factor for student engagement. What are your experiences with teaching competencies of university teachers for their application?
Well, first of all, I think what is important is to be able for faculty members to appreciate that they do have a significant role to play into engaging students. It's not a matter of just the student services. I often get that kind of pressure that, oh, it's student services and you need to figure it out. But I cannot. The students are I cannot reach out to the students throughout the day. They're in your classroom. So it's really important for you to understand, for faculty members to understand that they have a very significant role to play. I think they shape the first impressions of students and understanding of student engagement. Then I think that what is really important is to keep kind of learning the new engagement and active learning strategies. We know that our students are adults, and we know the basic principles of adult learning. And it's not learning by being a passive listener. And I think faculty members need to also model what they expect their students to have. So I will give an example. When I was teaching the university tools, I will discuss with faculty, with the students, how to read the syllabus, the course outlines, and how to take a time management approach into writing all their assignments and so forth. But then there were times where the assignments were not given out on time. So it was kind of sending mixed signals. So again, I do think that the most important for me is to get faculty members to understand that they're important. And I think we've achieved that through their academic role, through their academic advising role. But again, if you ask them if they think that this is the most important or one of the most important roles at the university, probably not everyone will think that it is. So
yeah, that's interesting, and it's trying to empower them too. You know,
yeah.
that to increase the awareness, you know, that they are a very key and important role, and then trying to empower them to say, okay, look, you're going to have probably the most contact with the students, so this is kind of our opportunity to make that engagement, you know, happen and meaningful then as well. Someone in the chat.
Sorry, I want to add something before, just to the last question. This is what we're planning to do this summer, right after graduation, before everybody leaves. We want to invite the departments and the first year faculty members and kind of tell us how they can give us some of their time in the first year courses, so we can go in and find ways to engage students and help them develop some of the skills. So this is kind of what we're working.
Brilliant. Yeah, again, like pre-planning and yeah, very good. There was a question there that says that they would love to understand what engagement strategy worked best with first generation students, self-identified students, or how do you identify them? What percentage in your university are first generation, or where would you go to get that info?
Yes, we actually have included this info in our application form. Of course, it's not mandatory. It's not a prerequisite or a requirement for them to answer. So anybody who wants can answer. And it was about 30%, which was actually a bit surprising. We thought it would be lower. And I think being able to identify not specifically those students, but targeting the parents in everything we do is very important. So as I said, bringing in the parents in different activities that they can do with the students, the orientation of first year students, the orientation of parents of first year students, it's also very important. There is a big turnout. And we do an online for parents who cannot be in Cyprus or cannot attend physically. And I think this kind of gives them the idea that we do think you are important for your students. Then again, of course, the offsite is trying to help them understand that they are adults and they also need to kind of let go in a sense, but support them from a distance. This is a challenge, and I don't know how that is in other cultures. In Greek and Cyprus cultures, this is a big thing. So I don't know, but yeah, this is how we do it.
Yeah, it's a pop similar here. Yeah, yeah, it's identifying them as stakeholders too, you know, and then trying to engage with them and involve them as well. And that's probably why, you know, you said it was so one of a successful project, you know. Another comment is some lovely comments in the chat. Actually, you should have a look, Andrea. Everyone thinks you're brilliant.
Yes,
We'll have to have you back again. Yeah, so yeah, thank you again. Someone says, I'm a massive believer in student-centered learning and engagement. They think involving them in all aspects of planning from beginning to end absolutely involves them, as they are brought into activities from the beginning. They love the idea of focus groups. Are these volunteer students, or how do you select focus group members?
Yes, we do a selection ourselves. First, we actually take out a calling out for any students who want to participate in a focus group. But because we want to have a representative sample from all departments and kind of different backgrounds, so we can have a more holistic kind of input and data, we do go also by department and seeing the students who are in and GPA, where they're coming from, background. And if we are not able to select that sample from the open call, then we go and we move into reaching out ourselves. So yeah, it's volunteer and also kind of more purposeful if we don't reach our goal of having representative sample.
Yeah, that's great. So you have kind of plan A, plan B, plan C,
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
Angela, I think you had a comment there.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. That was really excellent and some great insights there for us. And just to pick up one or two points that you mentioned as well, And when we survey our students, you know, how we can connect with them, it's very interesting. Even at third level students, they talk about the impact the academics have in them and how they're working with them, and they see the students every day. So one of the suggestions they do is asking us to work closely with the academics, share some ideas with the academics. So it is, I know we're dealing with students who are over 18, and you say, look, they have to take the responsibility. But it's interesting, from first years to final years, every year out that we've been doing it, they talk about the strong impact that lecture has. So if some of this can be inbuilt, it's not adding another task to an academic, but I suppose just to think about what you're doing and the impact it can have. And the other thing I just put in the chat there, we in Waterford have a peer-to-peer group as well, and it might be interesting, Andrea, to connect with our group. And one thing they had asked us as well, when we survey employers, to maybe ask the question, what impact that volunteering has when they're recruiting, when they're interviewing students as well, because I think that really helps us sell the message as well, to get involved and to volunteer, and how that can add value to your CVs and the transferable skills you gain in that, no matter what the volunteering is. So that they are excellent transferable skills. And even from an organization, as some employers would say, they have a corporate social responsibility as an organization. And then when they're interviewing students and they see the students are contributing, volunteering, supporting, that adds another value to them. So it's just a thought. So, you know, we'd be delighted to connect with you, Andrea. I can put you in contact. So thanks, but some great points. And, you know, I see my colleagues from other universities and careers are joining as well, and they're all buzzing to be involved as well. So thanks a million. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, super. And I think that might bring us to a natural close, just in the interest of time then too. Yeah, I don't know, I think maybe if you include, I think you said you're happy to share your slides, Andrea. You may be the guru of go-to for student engagement. So maybe if you're comfortable, could you add your email address into one of those slides if people wanted to reach out to you with any follow-up questions that they may have. And then we did record the session, so we'll circulate that shortly afterwards. And yeah, just my thanks again for a very enjoyable, some great discussion there too. And thank you as well to Bridget for helping with the technical issues that are kind of they just seem to happen all the time at the start, but that's part and parcel of it. So yeah, and thank you all for attending. Really appreciate you giving your time, and yeah, hopefully it's inspired you to go on forward to help empower your students inside and outside the classroom. So thank you all very much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you very much.